This is Dr. Catherine Kelly, and I am going to talk about something today that really is true for everybody. And I think it is the fact that people have a lot of fear about reaching their potential. Now, people wouldn't say that, but I really strongly believe that most people are more afraid anyway, to um, be successful and reach that potential than they are to not do that. Now, we think it's the opposite, but it's really not. And so, I want to really push some information towards you so that you can really think about your soul's infinite potential. Because I constantly talk about the soul's evolution and, helping people really integrate that whole idea of soul into their lives again, and the essence of who they are, as well as integrating that whole idea of soul health, which is how do we align our lives? And I say I do this because of the soul health model that I created almost 19 years ago. Now, it's that whole idea is how do we align our lives for radiant living? Well, one of the ways we do that is basically to follow our truth, which also means that as we follow our truth, we clean out what doesn't fit, we fill up with what does and with what nourishes us. And that is what sets the stage for our infinite evolution. So our soul is much more able to reach its potential when we've cleaned out the human condition, when we've done a lot of the healing work. So when I'm talking about healing work, I'm really talking about cleaning out the things that are inhibiting you from being in your highest self or your highest truth. So I want to kind of talk through a couple things here that are personal to me that I think might help you. Years ago, I'm constantly, I am a self-motivated person, obviously, and I do a lot, and I want to reach my own potential, but I am on a mission to help people meet their own potential. So years ago, I asked Spirit, I often meditate, talk with Spirit, try to get information for how I can move, how I move forward, how I can grow, how I can evolve, because I am dedicated to that. But one of the things I asked was, am I on the right path? Because all of us have this idea of where we're going to be in our lives at a certain time or in a certain way. And it was a point in my life where I felt like things were dragging along. I felt like, oh my gosh, I am not getting where I'm supposed to be. Or I just felt like I didn't feel like things were in the right place. And I don't remember the specifics of what was going on at that time. I just know that I kept thinking, gosh, I don't know if I'm on the right path. So I asked Spirit, am I on the right path? And I very succinctly and specifically and concisely heard back, you are not, you are on the right path. You're just on the small path. And so they went on to say that, it is not that you're on the wrong path. It is the small path. You have to push forward. You have to reach that place where you feel like you are leveling up. Now, that's my word. I don't remember what they said to me at the time. And I say they because to me, spirit is a collective of energies. And so when I tune in, it's really a they, not a it or a God or a singular kind of entity. It's that energy of this is what I'm hearing. So I call it a they. But when I heard you're not on the wrong path, you're just on the small path, I wrote that on a sticky note and it has been on my bathroom mirror ever since. And I do look at it. I look at it almost every day to think of, wow, okay, what is it today that I need to do to step forward? And it could be one teeny tiny thing, it could be a big thing. But it's something that I think all of us question about ourselves in our lives at some point. And even with doing, whether it's psychotherapy or whether I do some of the healing work with people around the world that are calling for soul coaching or intuitive readings or anything, consultations, I almost always hear from them, how can I get on the right path? How can I be stepping into my power? How can I get to that next place? How can I elevate myself? So it's a common thing that I think humans deal with because they don't want to get to the end of their life and feel like they regret not getting where they're supposed to be. So I want to share another story because this was it's about 7 years ago. I was traveling through California with a really good friend, and we went to 8 national parks in I think 10 days. And I mean, we drove and drove and we saw things and we talked and we had all these different conversations about um, spirituality and nature and everything else. And it was the last leg of our trip. We were driving back from the Mount Shasta area to LA. And I remember saying to her, and I don't even remember how this came up. I was driving and I said to her, I know I'm only using a fraction of what I'm capable of. And I saw her head just swivel and look at me. And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I said, I just know I'm only using a fraction of what I'm capable of. And then I added, and I know that if I don't learn to use the rest of it and identify what the rest of it is, then I'm coming back and I don't want to do that. So the whole idea is, for those of you who believe in reincarnation, is that basically we do have to hit our ceiling before we're done reincarnating. We have to get to that place where we're done. And I tell people jokingly and not so jokingly that basically, if we were done, we'd be dead. What I mean by that is we wouldn't come back. We wouldn't have more work to do. And because this is a circular process, even in each lifetime, we go through cycles. We have to expand that idea and realize that part of the reason we come back is that somehow we haven't reached our ceiling. We haven't hit that place where we are done. And so when I told her that day, that has stuck in my brain as well. And stepping into a person's power completely is a big job. And I would say I've been doing that for a long time and trying to get past fears of moving forward, getting past fears of, oh gosh, what are people going to think about me because I'm traditionally trained, but obviously I don't do traditional work. I had to get through a lot of those fears, and that took years to be able to do. And I'm not 100% past those fears, but I know that I have to do that work to get where I need to be. And so it is about reaching that highest potential. Now, scientists pretty much believe that we have our human bodies have evolved about as much as they're going to. But when I do soul work and when I do the conscious evolution work, I know that basically our soul's evolution is infinite. So there is no end because there's no end to the soul. We are all energy. That core of us is energy. That's not going anywhere, even though our bodies might. So we have to think of this as our infinite evolution and what is the highest potential I can reach in this lifetime. Now, I know that that makes people struggle at times too, because some people believe that they haven't accomplished very much. And we have to remember that that particular lifetime may not be about accomplishing. It might be about healing, or it might be about remembering, or it might be learning some lesson along the way. But if you have that urge and you feel like, wow, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that probably means that your soul is trying to nudge you forward. It means that you and the universe are conspiring in a way, in a positive way, to nudge you and to make you feel uncomfortable enough to evaluate and examine that whole thing of, am I moving forward enough? So we have to think about how it is that we can take those little steps as well as the big leaps to get us where we're supposed to be. I happen to be very motivated in doing that because I just, the way I'm made up, the way that even my astrology is made up, it's all about, okay, let's get stuff done. Let's figure out where we need to go next. And even as a child, I knew there were big things I was supposed to do. And along the way, I was wondering, gosh, why am I not feeling like I'm doing the big things? And granted, I think I'm about to launch into doing that by helping healthcare providers understand the soul more, by helping all of you understand even more how it is that you can reach that potential, how you can evolve that soul part of yourself, how you can move through those challenges of the human condition and get where you need to be. So there's lots and lots that I have laid out that I'm going to be providing out to the universe and out to you as humans along the way. And I just wanted to give you some fodder for thought to really think about, if you have that urge to reach a higher potential, what is it that you need to do? Now, the soul health model is obviously a blueprint in order for you to get there. So feel free to go back to that, because that is something that I have clients tell me all the time. Yeah, I took that out and I realized I wasn't doing this. And so it really helped motivate them to get to a different place. You have lots of different healers you could go to. You've got lots of different things like journaling. I'm an avid journaler. I journal almost every day. You have so many options out there. And really, my mission from this day forward, really from 10, 15 years ago forward, but certainly from this day forward, is to help you understand all of the different tools, help provide tools, help provide information and content that will get you moving even further on your path. Because again, I say in my book, and it's really my favorite quote of anything I've ever written, is that to know your soul is to know true health, and only then do you reach radiant living. And radiant living means finding that potential and reaching toward it and doing everything you can to heal and clear out the past. So, that's what I'm about. It's that soul health. I tell people, if I were to ever get a tattoo, I would have the soul health model tattooed on me, because it's the only thing I think I would never get tired of. And it's going to be motivating me from every second forward, as well as all the way up to my last breath. So I hope that I can give you the tools you need, but I really just wanted to plant some seeds about this idea of getting on that soul path, getting on that place where you can reach that infinite flow of growing and moving forward in evolution, because there's really no better place. It just feels so good when you've cleared out a lot of the wounds, cleared out a lot of the things that are obstacles or encumbering you, and being able to flow with that part of life. So I wanted to provide this information to you, and keep tuned, because there's a lot more coming, both videos, short books, other forms of content that are going to be coming out. And I just wanted to nudge you today, um, to have you consider, are you on the small path as well? Because I think once you really think of and conceptualize, if I'm on the wrong path or the soul path, the small path, well, then what do I do to get on it? What do I do to get on my correct soul path? So thank you very much for listening. Have a wonderful day. And there is much, much more to come. Bye-bye.